Amir, Robert. So we give people a little bit of time to get here.
Sure.
So yeah, how has been your week?
It's been a busy one. I'm traveling this week, so I live in San Diego, but I'm on the East Coast today, actually at my parents' house in Boston, and I have two-year-old twin boys that I traveled across the country with, so that is a little stressful to say the least.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So are we live on YouTube? Oh, hi YouTube people. So for the YouTube people that don't know what this is the Webflow Party. It's a community of developers and designers. We get together every week, and we also have sporadic events. And we're here to learn more about tools, processes, just overall how to be a better designer and developer. So welcome. If you have any questions for Geoff, you can drop them in the chat. And yeah, today we're going to be learning about Outseta, which is a tool to create memberships and launch software as a service companies, right?
That's right. Yep.
Awesome. Hi, Ilya. Hi, Josh.
Hello.
So I don't know if you caught it yesterday, but yesterday we had the Reloom Rumble, and it was so much fun. We had like a design face-off, and Eric was the designer.
Nice.
For the Webflow Party. It was so great.
That sounds stressful.
Eric was a champ.
Nice.
It was
Yeah.
so much fun.
What did you actually design? Nice.
Yeah. Hi, Maria. Maria, where have you been? Hi, Danny.
I've been traveling, and now I'll have to go again. We have like a family
Get together? Oh my God.
I'm on the outside of my house.
Where are you, Maria?
That's
Greece.
beautiful.
Nice.
That's beautiful. Okay, so what time it is? Okay, one more minute and we can start. Do I have to give facilitator access to James? Is he here?
He is here. If you could add him, that would be great. I think I'll probably lead things for the most part, but for everyone else's reference, James is our lead designer. So he's here as well, and he's responsible for the design of our website, our product, and basically everything I'm going to show you today.
Awesome. Hi, James. Welcome.
Thank you.
Okay, so I think we can start. Everybody's super excited to learn about Outseta. I'm super excited to learn, so go ahead. Let's start.
Cool. Let me share my screen, and I will take it away. Can you see that okay?
Yes.
All right. So I guess, first of all, does anybody here know what Outseta is coming into this conversation? Has anybody used it?
Let's see what they say on the chat.
Not yet, but I might have a project coming that will need membership functionality, so this could come in handy. So excited to learn more about it.
Cool. Well, I know everybody in the Webflow community is sort of aware of memberships. Chances are you've heard of companies like MemberStack, and you know that Webflow is launching their own membership functionality. So there's all kinds of different use cases for memberships. It could be sort of traditional membership sites where you're gating content. It could be something like a no-code type SaaS business that's actually built with Webflow as the front end. But what I'll sort of do is just generally show you around Outseta how the product operates, how it integrates with Webflow, and I will specifically kind of highlight the things that make Outseta unique. So going forward, if you have a project that needs membership site functionality, you can kind of look at the other products that are out there, look at Webflow's own offering, and know the things that are kind of unique to what we do at Outseta. So I like to, I guess, just start by telling people a little bit about the history of our business, because that will help kind of inform where some of this has come from. We started out almost 6 years ago now, with the objective of building Stripe billing, because Stripe billing did not exist at that point. If you needed to do subscription billing in Stripe, there was no such product to do it. So that's kind of what our company started out focused on. And over time, we sort of morphed our strategy into trying to deliver a subscription business in a box. So the idea is you can deliver your content any way you want. It can certainly be via Webflow. Most of our customers do use Webflow, but it can be any website builder, any development framework, really any way you want to deliver your content. You hook it up to Outseta, and Outseta gives you all of the tools that are commonly used to run a membership style business. So what that means in practicality, most membership software sort of has three main features. It's the ability to authenticate users into a site, the ability to collect payments, and some sort of protected content functionality. Outseta definitely offers those things too, but when we say we're an all-in-one platform, we also give you the tools to run a membership style business after you launch the site. So one of the things that we really talk a lot about is, particularly in the Webflow community, there's a lot of people that are agencies or freelancers. They need to build these sites and sort of hand them off to a client. That's great, but the client still needs to operate the business beyond that point. They need to, sign up new subscribers. They need to communicate with their customers. They need to field customer service requests, all those sorts of things that actually go into building a successful membership style business. So that's really the thing that is most unique about Outseta. In addition to the features that I mentioned, payments and authentication and protected content, you get a full CRM, you get an email marketing suite, you get a help desk, you get financial reporting. And really the value prop is you get all of this within a single platform. So you can plug it into Webflow and you kind of have a complete business that can be run between Webflow, which is used to deliver your content, and then Outseta, which is used to really manage and grow the business beyond that. So to bring sort of all of that full circle and bring it to life, I'll show you a few examples, and then I'll specifically get into how all of this integrates with a Webflow site, so you know what's involved in doing this yourself. But back to our website. Our website is built on Webflow, so we use Webflow not to deliver our product. In our case, it's just our marketing website. Our software is kind of this separate product, but Outseta is what ties it all together. So if you come to our website today and somebody wants to sign up for Outseta, you can click on this sign up button. And this is sort of the first component that somebody would interact with that's actually Outseta. We call this our sign up embed. So this is how a user would input their information. We would capture their payment, and they create essentially an account within Outseta. This page that I just showed you is just an embeddable component dropped into a page. I'll show you how to generate these in a moment. But what most of our customers end up doing is what you see on our pricing page here. So this is not Outseta whatsoever that you're looking at. This is just a Webflow page designed the way that we wanted it to look. But somebody can come here, they can say, okay, I want this startup plan. They click get started. And this again is Outseta. This is our sign up embed. In this case, delivered as a pop-up. So the user, inputs whatever information we want from them, pays, and their membership is created. Beyond that, the second integration point is the login functionality. So if you're on our website again and you click login, this is what we call our login embed. This is how the user actually authenticates and logs into the site. And you can log in with an email address and password, or with a Google account as well. And there is a final integration point, which we call our profile embed. And the profile embed does a couple things for you. The first is it allows each individual member to maintain a sort of personal profile or user profile, but it also allows you to upgrade, downgrade, or cancel your subscription and maintain your billing information. So this is kind of a self-service customer portal. And these 3 embeds are where your whole journey with Outseta starts. These are the pieces that need to get integrated with your Webflow site to sort of take advantage of the entire feature set that Outseta offers. Any questions on that to start?
No, this is great. Or I don't know if anybody has questions in the chat.
I have a lot of questions, but I'll save it for later.
Okay, cool.
All right. So how does this all work? First things first, we do use Stripe to process payments. So the very first thing you would do as an Outseta customer, you create an account, you come in here, you click on billing and settings, and you connect to Stripe. But a big part of our value prop is once you connect to Stripe, you never need to log into Stripe again. You can set up all of your membership plans in Outseta. All of your invoices are sent via Outseta. You can issue refunds from Outseta. It's kind of a set it and forget it type thing. And then you just immediately move into working with these 3 embeds that I mentioned. This is sort of what implementation looks like. And in terms of getting all this functionality to work, the login pop-up that you see here and the sign-up forms that I referenced, it's as simple as this. There is a single script that you can find here that you drop into the header of your Webflow site. And then we just give you links that trigger the sign-up pop-up, the login pop-up, and the profile embed as well. So as long as you know how to drop a code snippet into the header of your Webflow site, and you can link a button to these links, you can implement this in a couple of minutes. That's really all that is involved in getting started. The other thing that you should familiarize yourself with early on is these configuration tools. So this is sort of us latching on to this same idea of visual development that Webflow has popularized. And this is a tool that you can use to sort of customize your sign-up forms. So the first thing we ask you here, once you set up whatever membership plans or options you want, is whether you want to embed your sign-up forms on a page, generate that pop-up that I showed you, or you can create what we call payment links as well. So for the sake of this example, I'm going to say we want a payment link. Right now, I'm showing a number of different membership plans that are contained in what we call a plan family. But you might want to just build a sign-up form for a particular plan, and let's call it our growth plan. And as you make those sorts of changes, you see a live preview of what your sign-up form would look like right over here. Once you like what you see, you click install your embed, and we generate a link for you in this case, which just brings you to a page where someone can sign up for that plan specifically. Works the exact same way if you say, hey, you know what, rather than a link to send in an email, I want to embed this directly onto a Webflow page. We generate the code for you that brings that sign up form to your site. You drop it into the page and you're off and running. So long story short, we sort of write the code for you on the back end, then give you the link or the code snippet or whatever it is that you might need. From a design perspective, you can also come over here and click Customize Design. We do give you the ability with these components to change the fonts, change the colors. There is dark mode. You can customize these forms. And the idea is this design tool out of the box gives you enough design control to match the aesthetic of your brand and site, no matter what it looks like. But you can also embed these components directly into a Webflow page and then further customize the design with CSS there. And
so the plans that you have there, where do we create new plans?
Yep. So if you come over to billing and plans, this is where you'll, or this is really what Outseta does best, in my opinion. So we started out 5+ years ago as really a billing tool. And this is sort of the most mature part of our product, I guess, and the part of the product that I think is most compelling. So we sell primarily to relatively early stage businesses, startups of all types. And kind of the idea behind our billing system is if you're just starting out, you probably don't know exactly what your pricing should be or even what your pricing model should be. So there's a bunch of things that are quite unique to our membership functionality that you'll see here. For sort of a basic membership, let's just call this a basic membership, you can come here and you can say, okay, every individual person is going to sign up for a membership and we're going to charge them $10 a month. You know, that's kind of the most common recurring billing type model. But the things that are unique about Outseta is we do support what we call individual memberships. That just means every individual person needs to have their own membership, but we also support team-based memberships. So a team-based membership means you are selling to some sort of organization or company. Someone's going to sign up and pay for the membership, but then they can invite additional team members to share that membership. So in a lot of cases with our Webflow customers in particular, they've started out as kind of traditional membership sites using individual memberships. They have some success, and then they realize, hey, there's an opportunity for me to sell whatever sort of product that I'm offering to businesses or to organizations. I really need team-based membership functionality, and that's one of the things that we offer that is fairly unique. There's a ton of other options here that you can customize. You can say, okay, I'm going to have a team-based membership for up to 10 people, for example. And there's a bunch of other pricing models that we support too. So if you just wanted to charge one-time fees, you can set up one-time fee or sort of lifetime memberships. We do per user pricing. So if you wanted to sell to companies or organizations and say we're going to charge you $20 per member, you can do that. And in general, we support monthly, quarterly, and annual membership types. Beyond that, you can have free trials. So if you want to give people time to sample your content or try your product or whatever it might be, free trials are supported. You can charge setup fees. You can have plans that expire on a specific date. So a lot of customers of ours that sell some sort of like cohort-based course content have sort of curriculum that students go through every quarter, every few months, whatever it might be, and they sell memberships that start and end on a specific date. But probably the other big differentiator around billing is you can have multiple memberships concurrently. And those are typically set up as add-on products. So this is an example on our website over here. And I posted this in the community too, so some of you may have seen this. But this is an art instruction website that's built on Webflow. And the artist charges sort of a flat membership fee and then has a number of different courses that she offers. So at checkout, users can sign up for kind of her base membership and get access to some of her content, but then they can purchase these very specialized classes as well and have multiple subscriptions concurrently. So that's also something that is relatively unique to Outseta. Any questions on that?
Well, you show like the plans configuration, but I do have a question. Like, can you have let's say a free plan? Like you have a paid plans.
Yeah.
Can you have free plans as well, and like include that on a group? Let's say you have like a 3-tier plan subscription model, and one of them is a free plan with limited functionality. Can you have that?
Yes, absolutely. So if you want a free plan, it's not much of a trick, but you just put a monthly rate of 0.
Nice.
And users can sign up for that without requiring a credit card or anything like that. So a lot of our customers do start out with some sort of limited freemium offering and then use that as an opportunity to try to get customers to upgrade to higher membership levels from there.
Nice.
So the billing, actually a couple more things on billing, then we'll get into the content protections. But finally, from a billing perspective, there is an invoicing tool here as well. So if you ever have a need to just bill a member for really anything, you can come in here and click add an invoice, and you can manually charge customers too. So a use case that we don't really promote, but that's kind of started to take off within the Webflow community, is actually people that run Webflow agencies that use Outseta to run their agency. So they can sell their services via Outseta. They've got, a CRM and an email marketing platform they can use to manage their clients and communicate with their clients. But they also have invoicing tools here at their disposal. And one of the benefits of using Outseta in that capacity, particularly if you sell any sort of retainer type services, is you're just assured that you're going to get paid on time every month. You don't need to create invoices and sort of chase your customers down for payment. They can input a credit card and they're just automatically billed every month. There's also discounts too. So if you ever wanted to offer any sort of discounts for your memberships, you can set those up, and there's all kinds of different rules you can set in terms of when discounts can be applied and all that kind of stuff. But that's the billing piece. That's really where everybody starts. That's what drives them to Outseta in the first place. And then from there, it's typically about setting up protected content of some sort. So there's really 3 types of protected content that we support. This is what's going to look most familiar. So imagine you just want to set up some kind of members only content. You can name that content whatever you want. We'll say there's a page on your site that's just called members only content. And then you can select which plans within your Outseta account have access to that content. So in this case, I'm saying my growth plan, only people on the growth plan would be able to come to our website. Sorry, this goes up here and access that members only page. So this is kind of the typical content protection based on a specific page URL or a specific folder of content. The 2 other types of content that we do support are what we call account-specific pages. So these are pages of content that are protected for a specific customer. Only a specific customer or a specific member can actually reach these pages. So the common use case here, particularly within the Webflow community, is some sort of individualized or personalized dashboard that users can log into and access content specific to them. And then last but not least, you can also tag any individual element within Webflow and say, I want to show or hide this element from a logged in user and only allow users with a specific membership level to be able to see that element. So maybe you have like a video on your site and you say, this video I want to hide unless somebody is on the pro membership tier. You can tag it with a custom attribute, and that will hide that individual element as well. So those are kind of the 3 ways that content typically gets protected on a Webflow site, and that's typically the second aspect that gets set up. Any questions on that?
No. Or Diego, do you have?
No. I had a question, but he already answered that. Like
Okay.
all the elements, like if you can hide, for example, sections and all that, but you already demonstrated how to do that. That's perfect.
Cool.
Hey, Geoff, I have a question for you.
Sure.
So I'm building a site I'm building an app for my customer, which is a SaaS offering.
Yep.
And we have developed the app with the authentication, but we don't have anything else. Can I integrate my app with your app, and is that possible?
Yeah, so you can, if you already have authentication in place, you can still leverage Outseta with your own authentication solution. It is absolutely technically possible. We have customers that do it all the time. It is a more complex integration at that point. We kind of lose insight into whether a user is logged in or not. So that needs to be communicated from your existing authentication tool to Outseta via our API. More technical customers, that's totally fine. As I said, we do it all the time. But the other alternative to consider at least is to switch out the existing authentication tool with our own. The benefit of doing that is largely just speed to market. It's a faster integration. We sort of automatically get insight when somebody is logging in rather than sending that data to Outseta via our API. But either option is possible.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yep. So I'll run quickly through the other tools that we offer that sort of help with managing the business after you've launched the site. But then I'll get into showing you some specific examples of different Outseta sites and some of the stuff James has been working on recently that might be of interest to all of you. So once you've integrated the sign up and login forms and all that and set up your plans and protected content, you sort of launched your site and now you're ready to actually grow your business. So the first tool that we offer is a full CRM. Every time somebody comes to your site and signs up for a membership, Outseta automatically creates a CRM record for that user. And rather than having sort of a limited member record or some sort of member data, it's a complete customizable CRM, and it automatically pulls in all the information captured at sign up. So in this case, we're pulling in a company name. It's our own company in this example, but it could be an individual's name if you're just selling memberships to individual people. It tells you what plan the person signed up for, how much they're paying, when their membership started, when it renews. And the things that are really unique about the CRM functionality is you can change a member's subscription or membership directly from their CRM record. So if I come here, I can change when the member's subscription renews. I can change their subscription altogether. I can cancel their subscription. We also do some automated financial reporting. So where it says customer lifetime revenue up here, this is the actual amount of money that's been collected from the member over the time that they've been a member of the site. And it just updates in real time as you collect more payments. So you can pull up a CRM record and understand the actual dollar value of each of your members to your business.
Wow. Is there a way to see a list of all of the customer lifetime revenue on a list for all the members?
That's a good question. There actually isn't today, but that's a great suggestion.
And let's say if I wanted to download all of my customers' data, I would still be able to see it in a column, no?
Yes, you can absolutely do that. One of our questions we get all the time is like, who owns our data? If we did want to change platforms, what does that look like? All of your data is available within your account. You can export it at any time.
And what about an API access? Like, do you have access to all of that information through an API?
Yep. If you just type in Outseta REST API, you'll find our API docs, and you can access all that information via our API as well.
Yeah, that's great, because if you have that, then you can stitch it up together with, let's say, Zapier, and move the information to somewhere else like Airtable and treat the data and do whatever you want.
Absolutely. So that's actually a good topic while we're on the CRM functionality. A lot of people will come to us and say, do I need some sort of backend database? What does that look like? And the short answer is it varies very differently site by site. I would say for a lot of our customers, they actually use Outseta CRM as their database if they don't have a need for like a really sophisticated backend database. You can come here and you can add whatever properties you want to any of the CRM records, so you can store all the information that you want within Outseta. There's a bunch of different types of properties that we support at this point. So I'd say probably the majority of our slightly less sophisticated membership sites will just use the CRM as their database. If you have kind of more robust needs, either Airtable is commonly used or Xano, XANO. It's kind of a no-code friendly backend database. We see those used very commonly alongside Outseta as well.
Hey,
Yeah,
Geoff,
I'm thinking. Yeah, go ahead.
Hey, Geoff, what about branding? Because the app might have a very different branding, and how do you then sync the branding?
The branding of what?
The colors and stuff like that.
So everything that is customer facing, everything that would get integrated with Webflow, everything that a user would actually interact with is fully customizable. So you can make it fit the aesthetic of your site however it looks. From an administrative perspective, if you are an Outseta customer and you log into Outseta, this is not brandable. It is going to say Outseta in the top left-hand corner of the screen. It is going to look it's going to look like what you see on my screen right now.
Okay, got it.
I think that like from the marketing perspective, that little customer revenue, lifetime revenue is super important, because then you know like how much money you can spend on marketing, how much
Sure.
each member is bringing in revenue, you know, like
Yep.
very useful.
Yeah, we'll show you some additional reporting tools we have here too in a minute, and those are the kinds of things we really try to encourage people to think about early on. I think one of my criticisms, I guess, of the no code community in general is there's so much emphasis on sort of what can be built and very little emphasis on what happens after it's built. And what we're trying to demonstrate is we can help you build these things faster and easier, but we can also, give you the tool set to hopefully build a successful membership site or a successful SaaS business as well.
Mm-hmm. Quick question about the CRM. You display like a screen where you could add some custom properties to the CRM.
Mm-hmm.
Is that how you create like custom fields for a profile?
Yep.
Or is it something else? Okay.
That's exactly right. Yep. So I showed you like the profile embed previously. That is one of the ways that a member can log in and sort of update information about themselves. And it's completely customizable. So you can add whatever fields you want to the profile embed. You can capture information if you are selling to businesses about the business itself. You can capture information about specific users, and you have full control over what information is in those profiles.
Is it possible to customize the profile embed in like multiple tabs? Because I see that you have different tabs there. Can you like create different tabs, custom tabs, and group things inside those tabs?
Yeah, it's a good question. You can't add tabs today. The tabs basically are a user profile for the individual, a profile for the business, the ability, if you are using team-based memberships, to invite team members, the ability to change your plan, and the ability to edit your billing information. Those are kind of predefined at this point. There are some other ways, which I can show you in a minute, to get additional information into Outseta. But from the perspective of the profile embed, this is predefined. Couple other quick things on the CRM. Just on the record, you see like a history of the member subscription. So if they are changing their subscription over time or buying new products, you can see that. You can also access all their invoices and payments from here. So if you have a member and they write in and say, hey, I need a refund or whatever it might be, you can just open up the invoice and issue either a full or partial refund directly from here. And then finally, on the CRM record, this is one of the things I really want to talk about that's super useful to our Webflow customers. And it's the ability to track exactly how members are engaging with your Webflow site. So you can, using custom attributes, tag really any element in Webflow. So let's say you have a video and you just want to know if that video was watched, or you want to know if a button was clicked. You can tag those buttons within Webflow with a custom attribute, and it will communicate back to Outseta whether that particular engagement has happened, whether that button was clicked, that video was watched, etc. And there's two places that shows up. The first is directly on the CRM record for each member. So one of the use cases that this has been really helpful for with Webflow builders is if you're building any sort of like learning management system, or you have any sort of content that you need to know if a member consumed, you can set those up as engagement events, and then you can see directly on each member CRM record whether that video has been watched or content's been read or whatever it might be. But the other place that becomes available is down here in our engagement reporting. So this allows me to look at that same information in aggregate. So right now I'm looking at paid subscribers, and these are all things specific to our business, rather than a Webflow site. But for our business, we care about people setting up pricing plans and sending email broadcasts and using live chat, all these sorts of things. And I can see on a member by member basis who's doing what. So if I'm ever curious, like, what videos are being watched or what content is popular. I get that insight right here. And in this case, I'm looking at paid subscribers. So I sort of know amongst our paid members who's engaging and how. But I can also flip this over to trialing, which in this case would be people on a free plan or a free trial of Outseta. So these are not our customers yet. And I can see how they're engaging with our site, with our product. And I can use this in more of a sales-oriented capacity to say, this particular member is on a free plan, is very engaged. I should reach out to them and try to get them to sign up for a membership. So this kind of intelligence is really helpful when it comes to, again, sort of growing your member base.
Yeah, one of the things that I had always clients ask me in marketing was, how do you track attribution?
Mm-hmm.
And this is basically one step ahead, because it would be for people that are actually about to go into a membership or in a membership, and how you can duplicate their revenue.
Yep, exactly
This
right.
is super useful.
You can look for patterns and say, people that, in our case, it's like people that connect to Stripe and set up pricing plans are much more apt to become customers of ours. But for every business, for every site, it's going to be a little bit different. But that's 100% what the feature is designed to do. The other thing I want to show you here is segments. So because you've got all of your billing data and all of your financial, or all your billing data, all your customer data, all your communications flowing into one platform, you can build what we call segments. Segments are just users or members with some sort of shared characteristic. And if you create a segment, it will find everybody that matches the characteristic that you're looking for. So a super basic example that pretty much every one of our customers will set up is segments based on the subscription plans that they've configured in Outseta. So they can say account subscription plan equals, and then again, let's find our growth plan. And if I create this segment, Outseta will run through all the data in Outseta and find everybody that's on the growth plan. So this is a really good way, as opposed to just maintaining sort of static email lists. You can set up these segments and they automatically keep themselves up to date. So if somebody cancels their subscription or upgrades to a different plan that was on the growth plan, they're removed from this segment. So you've just got groups of people that are always up to date, and you can then use segments to trigger email automations or send emails, things like that. So this is a super basic example. I'm not going to wow anybody all that much by showing you that you can send an email to somebody on a particular subscription plan. But this is a more advanced example. And again, this is the type of thing that's super useful in the context of a membership site or a SaaS product. So this segment, because we're an authentication tool, a CRM, and an email marketing tool, can be set up in about 30 seconds. I've tried to do this using separate tools. It can absolutely be done, but it is a pretty complex thing to do typically. In this case, we're looking for people that haven't logged into the site in 14 days. As soon as that condition becomes true, people get added to this segment. And then we use that segment to trigger an automated email campaign that goes out and says, hey, we recognize you haven't logged in a couple of weeks. Is our content not valuable to you? Did you need some help getting started? Whatever it might be. So these are just ways to sort of automatically make sure people that are becoming disengaged get re-engaged, and you're doing everything you can to keep people from churning, essentially. So that's the CRM. Any questions there?
No, I mean, I'm blown away. I didn't know it has so many features.
We've been at it for a while, and ultimately, I think we started out really focused on SaaS, and to be fair, we still have a lot of customers that are building SaaS companies. But what we found over the last 2-3 years, really when the Webflow community sort of discovered us, to be honest, was no-code builders sort of benefit from Outseta that much more, because all these tools are already pre-integrated. So you can run your business with a lot less Zapier or a lot less Make, whatever it is you tend to use to stitch things together. And that's the kind of sort of efficiency and speed to market that we try to help with.
Yeah. I remember when I had my startup, this was a headache. Like I was able to set up everything, but then after it was set up, I didn't know what to do because I didn't have any experience.
Sure. Yep.
You know?
And there's just more. The other thing is we get asked this all the time. Like the number one sort of pushback against Outseta that we hear, there's two, I guess. One is this sounds too good to be true. And two is, you know, aren't there better CRMs? Aren't there better email marketing tools? Aren't there better help desks? The short answer is absolutely there are. There are, you know, tools that are more feature rich than what you're seeing here. But our product strategy, first of all, is to sort of come closer and closer to a competitive feature set with each of those more specialized tools. But our argument is if you're a relatively early stage business, or generally you're just not operating like a $50 million a year company, having all these tools in the same platform and pre-integrated is actually more beneficial. And there's a lot of vulnerability that can be introduced to a business if you are stitching everything together with APIs or Zapier or whatever it might be. Those things can break. They can cause all kinds of issues. And in some ways, it's actually more brittle than having this tool that's all built together from the ground up.
Yeah, Brian on YouTube asked any data protection concerns, and I feel like that's where this would be more secure, correct?
Yeah, the data protection concerns, I'd say two things about that in general. One is all of your financial data is actually not stored in Outseta. It is stored in Stripe. So when you connect to Stripe, they store all your customers' credit card data and whatnot. If you look on a customer record, you will see like this customer has a MasterCard ending in 7041 on file, but the credit card information isn't actually stored in Outseta. It's all in Stripe. So if you trust Stripe with your financial data, you're fine using Outseta. The other thing I will mention proactively is Outseta uses what's called front-end content protection. That's what you see with all the popular membership software providers for the most part. But it is technically feasible if you have a very sophisticated user that they can disable JavaScript and potentially access protected content. We hear this concern all the time across all of our customer bases. We've never heard of anyone actually doing that. So our general guidance is it's kind of like the kids getting poisoned by Halloween candy thing. You hear about it all the time, but it never actually happens. And basically, if you have like really sensitive financial data or healthcare records or anything like that, you should not rely on our content protection features. But if it's, you know, just normal data, you're good to go, I would say.
Yeah. Diego has a question.
Me? No.
Oh, you had the little microphone on.
Yeah, I don't know why this showed up for me.
No worries.
Yeah, but I'll have more questions. Yeah, I have a list here.
Okay. I'll run you through the communication tools real quick. These are things that are going to look familiar to you, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time on them. But one of the things I know everyone in the Webflow community is really excited about is obviously Webflow memberships, but then everyone's talking about Logic too. Like the primary use case for Logic is going to be triggering email automations when something happens on your Webflow site. That is something you can do today within Outseta. So you have the ability to come in here and send email broadcasts. You know, we use these to promote blog posts and company updates and all those kinds of things. It is very, very similar to a MailChimp or a ConvertKit. But then you can also set up drip email campaigns. So we use these for, you know, onboarding sequences. And you can see here, we've just got a series of emails that are time delayed one after the other that go out to people on a free trial of our product. So any sort of lead nurturing or onboarding type sequences you might want to set up, you can do so from within here. We do give you some email templates by default that are just kind of pre-designed that you can leverage, but there's a full drag and drop builder so you can design all your own templates. If I come over here to broadcast and just click add a broadcast, it's a pretty typical authoring flow. You know, you choose your recipients, write your subject line, you can click start designing. and you can choose any of the starting points that we provide, or you can just jump into a blank template and use the drag and drop builder to build your own template. Finally, couple final things on email. There are lead capture forms, so you can certainly use Webflow's native forms and send that information into Outseta using something like Zapier. But we do have our own lead capture form builder here as well, so you can build and customize your own lead capture forms. It basically just eliminates the need for something like Zapier, but you have both options. And you can also see for any of the emails that have been sent by Outseta whether those emails have actually been delivered and read. So if you want insight into who's reading your emails and whatnot, that is provided as well.
Nice.
And then the final set of sort of communication tools are really all focused on customer service in some extent. So if I come here to tickets, this is how you can respond to any sort of customer service requests from your customer base. We give you an email address. Ours is support@outseta.com. If you email that address, it creates a support ticket in an inbox that looks like this. You can then assign that if you are working with other people to whoever the right person to respond is, and then reply from right here. So that's just really a way to make sure all of your questions from your members or customers, whatever it might be, are flowing into the same place and not getting lost in your own personal email inbox. There's a knowledge base. So if you wanted to publish any sort of content and make it accessible to your members, just like how to work with your membership site or how to work with your SaaS product or anything like that, you can publish all your content here. You go ahead and click published, and then we provide you with a publicly accessible knowledge base that looks like this. It gets skinned for your business or your client, whoever it is you're working with. People can come here, they can submit a help request right here. If they do need help, they can search through your content, or they can just jump into reading all your content and tutorials. So if you do give this a try at some point, you'll probably familiarize yourself with our knowledge base and this Webflow category in particular. And it's also a chat tool. So if you've ever wanted to put something like Drift or Intercom on your website, there is also a chat tool. All of the incoming chats flow into your Outseta account up here. Right now our chat is offline because I'm doing this session, but if you're chatting with somebody that's an existing member of yours or somebody that you've chatted with before, you'll see their name gets pulled into the chat conversation, and it will automatically update their CRM record too. So when you do pull up their CRM record, you know exactly who it is and what your past conversation with them looked like. If it's someone you've never chatted with, they'll show up here as unknown. But in terms of integrating this with a Webflow site, if you come over here to settings, there's a number of things you can do. We do give you, where is it? Over here, sorry. We do give you a support ticket embed form that you can drop into your site. So an example of that is going to be over on this site, which we'll talk about in a minute. But you can just add a form to your site that automatically submits a help request. And likewise, you can come over into Outseta and do the same thing with the chat embed. So the chat embed is just another script that you drop into Webflow. It then gives you a little chat widget, and you can sort of customize all your messaging and how people interact with the chat embed right here. But those are really the communication tools, the billing tools, the CRM. Aside from that,
question about the knowledge base.
Sure.
So that lives on a separate domain, like
it
right?
does.
If you use a knowledge base, then you need to set that up to as a subdomain to work together with your website, right?
That's right. Yeah.
Okay. And can you reuse the content on from the knowledge base somehow? Let's say via an API endpoint, if you want to load articles, links outside the knowledge base website and inside Webflow, is that possible?
We don't have a way to do that today, no.
Hmm.
That's a good suggestion as well. All right. Couple final things. Then I'll show you some Webflow sites, and then we can just open it up for any and all questions. So final things here. A couple other things within Outseta that might be generally useful to you, or just ways that we save you time. If you come to settings and transactional emails, anytime you're interacting with a membership site or any sort of SaaS product, there's all kinds of automated emails or transactional emails that need to be sent. So say, for example, someone needs to reset their password. Rather than needing to author all those emails yourself and set up those workflows, we've done all of that for you. Likewise, if somebody tries to process a payment and their credit card is rejected, we can send them automated emails that tell them that their credit card was rejected. So all those sorts of transactional emails are already authored. You can certainly edit them and customize them to your liking, but they get sent out automatically by Outseta. So that's just kind of a time-saving thing. And then there's this notification system. So this is really for your own internal use. But let's say you want to know every time a new paid subscriber signs up for your business, you can set up this notification, punch in your email address, and you'll get a nice email that says, Bob just signed up for a $99 a month membership. Congratulations. That sort of thing. But aside from just paid subscriptions, again, like if payments are declined or someone upgrades or really anything occurs that's important within the context of Outseta in your business, you can set up a notification for that.
Wow.
And last but not least is reporting. So back to this concept of you're running a SaaS business or a membership business, you need to know how to keep score. Certainly the engagement reports we looked at earlier are useful in sort of understanding how people engage with your site. But you also get financial reporting directly within Outseta. So you can look at pretty standard subscription or membership type metrics, number of paid subscribers, monthly recurring revenue, churn rates, all that kind of stuff. If you do use free trials, you can see a trial conversion percentage. And if you do sell multiple products, you can look at how much revenue comes from each of those products. So all that financial reporting is here within your account. And then this one is also particularly useful for membership sites. And this is pretty new, but you can set up your own cancellation reasons. And if somebody does cancel their membership, we'll serve up sort of your cancellation survey. Then here on the back end, you can get feedback as to why people canceled. You can look at how cancellations are trending over time. And you can also look at a cancellation by cancellation level at how long the person was a member before they canceled, how much money they spent with your business before they canceled, what plan they were on, all that kind of stuff. So you can really understand churn and why people are leaving, and use that to obviously build a better business and try to eliminate churn as much as possible.
Very, very cool. I can't wait to see the use cases.
Awesome. So that's that's kind of the feature set. I'll pause there briefly, then we can get into some use cases and sites.
Cool. Anybody has any? Oh, okay. There's a question here on YouTube from John Matias. John asks, is there any functionality for running and churn prevention built into Outseta? There
is, yes. So let me pull this up real quick. If a customer tries to, or if Outseta tries to process a payment and isn't able to, there's a billing stage for each customer reflected here on their account record. Right now it says subscribing, that payments. If a payment fails, this will move to what we call a past due billing stage. That indicates that somebody owes you money, essentially. And Outseta today makes 4 automated attempts to collect that payment. We try the initial time, we'll try the next day, we try a week after that, and we'll try 2 weeks out from when we initially tried to capture the payment. If we're not able to capture the payment after those 4 attempts, Outseta will stop trying to collect that payment in an automated fashion, but you can still try to collect that payment anytime you want. So you would see an unpaid invoice in Outseta. you can open that up and you can click collect payment. It will also give you feedback on why we weren't able to collect the payment. So it might say insufficient funds or an incorrect credit card number or something like that. But that's generally how failed payments are handled. You do also have this setting right here. So you can decide how long you want to allow a payment or a customer to be in a past due billing state before automatically canceling their account. So in the case of what you see here, if someone moves into a past due state, you'd allow the customer to technically be in that past due state for 35 days. After 35 days, if they still haven't paid you, you can automatically cancel their account. So you have a lot of ability to sort of customize what that looks like.
Mm-hmm. Okay, Robert asks, and this is more like for Outseta as a company. Just curious, what frameworks and DBMS is all of this backend built on?
The backend is all Microsoft products. It's built in .NET, and on the front end, it's largely JavaScript and Angular/React.
Nice. It's very well done. Congratulations. This is super, super awesome.
Thank you.
And I'm not saying this just because you're here, but like really, wow.
Thank you. We've been working on it for a long time, and over the last few years, getting to sort of introduce to the Webflow community and whatnot has really helped us grow that much faster. And it's, as you all know, just a great community to be a part of. Everyone's so nice and supportive.
Yeah. Diego, you have questions?
I actually have two questions.
Sure.
The first one is about the reusability of the data you have for your customers, like profile. So you have all those custom fields you collect on a sign-up form, for example, on the CRM. But is there a way to use that data inside a Webflow page? Let's say, for example, I have a custom dashboard page, 100% built on Webflow, and I want to like put the username there, put some extra information that I collected before on specific elements inside Webflow. Is that possible?
Yes, you can suck any data that is contained within Outseta into Webflow using data attributes. So you basically, the attribute is data O member, and then it's basically just the name of the property, and that sucks the information out of Outseta and onto your Webflow site.
Yeah.
So you can create like pages like personalized for that user after they log in.
Exactly. Yep.
Nice.
That's very good. And the second question is about the customization of plans. So let's say, for example, I have created a custom, let's say, price calculator for my product on Webflow using custom JavaScript. I have like a form that calculates let's say a random price. Sure. And I want to use that price for that particular customer on his plan. So I have a specific plan on Outseta, but I want the price to be variable. So depending on the value calculated in the calculator, I want that value to be charged for that subscription plan for that customer. Is that possible?
Let me just make sure I'm understanding the use case. A couple examples I'll show you. Let's see if we still have this on our page. So for us, we do have these predefined plans, right? But if you come here, you can also interact with a calculator as you suggested, and you could say, you know, I have 20,000 contacts in my CRM. What's that going to charge me? We then tell you the price, and we have a predefined plan for that price. So Outseta is not, or I haven't seen it, at least it probably could theoretically, is not going to like create a plan automatically based on what the calculator is showing, but you can create a calculator that reflects a price based on some sort of metric within Outseta, and then allow customers to subscribe to that. The other two things that are sort of related to what you mentioned is we do have another pricing model aside from per user pricing that we call editable quantity pricing. So this would allow you to say, let's say you wanted to charge somebody based off the number of Airbnbs they've rented. This is a bad example, but it basically at checkout gives the user an input box where they can say, I want to buy 5 units or 10 units or 20 units. And then it will calculate the appropriate price based on the number of units that they want to purchase, if that makes sense. And then the third option is actual like pay-per-use pricing. So we do also support usage-based pricing. We actually use that ourselves a bit. So we have kind of a blended pricing model that uses our own product. So we do charge monthly subscription fees, but how we actually make money as a business is we take a 1% transit fee on a successfully processed payment. So every month we'll look at each of our customers and we'll say, customer A processed $10,000 in transactions. A 1% fee based on that actual payment processing is what we then charge them. So those are kind of the different scenarios that are somewhat related to what you asked.
Okay, yeah, but I think that the use case I'm trying to describe here is a little bit different. No, the use case I'm trying to describe here is a little bit different. I'll try to simplify it. What I want to do is I want to define that price programmatically. Have one plan, one subscription plan, but the price is, I'm going to tell how much that plan is going to cost for the customer. So my calculator generates the price, and I tell Outseta, I want this plan for this customer, but I will charge X amount of money for that. Like quick example, let's say Gumroad. When you have a product on Gumroad and you have like name your price, you can put whatever you want to pay for that product on Gumroad. So it's a dynamic price.
Got it. Yeah, we do not support pay what you want pricing at this point.
Got it.
You could. So if you're like, if you have a conversation with a customer, you could certainly create a pricing plan specific to that customer. That's fine, but the customer can't you can't have one plan and just change the price of that plan on a customer by customer basis.
So another question, can you programmatically generate that plan for a customer using some sort of API request?
You said, could you do that via some sort of API request?
Yeah.
That's a good question. I don't know the answer off the top of my head. I think you probably could, yes. But don't hold me to that. I'd have to double check.
Okay, yeah. Sorry for the tough questions. It's because I had a customer previously with a pretty advanced calculation system for the price, and like it's really hard to find a solution that supports that kind of thing. So I was trying to understand if that could be possible with Outseta.
I think there's a little bit of lag on sound.
Yeah, you cut out on me there for a minute.
Okay, we're back, right?
Yep.
Okay, cool. So let's see the use cases from James.
All right, so a few different use cases or potential starting points. There's really 3 major use case, or I guess maybe 4 major use cases where we kind of recommend Outseta pretty routinely. The first is in the context of our own business. So if you're building a SaaS product and you need to integrate your product with a marketing site and stitch it all together, I've sort of demonstrated how we've done that today for our own company. The sign up and login components live on our Webflow website, but when somebody actually logs in, they then get dropped into our software product. So the way that happens is you set what we call a post login URL that basically tells Outseta once somebody logs in successfully where you should send them next. And in our case, that's just a dashboard within our software. So that would be the first one. The second one is going to be sort of the traditional membership site. So this is actually a template. It's outseta-demo.webflow.io if you want to check it out. This is a clonable, so you can just clone this and start with it. It gives you just kind of a basic pre-built membership site. You can take this template, further customize it. Once you log in, you are then able to access protected content, and you'll see pages of protected content. But that would be really the second one, and probably the most common. The third is going to be this template. This is new, and this is something you'll see us talking about quite a bit in the coming weeks. Something that is really common in our customer base is we sell to sort of creator types, and they will have some sort of membership site and maybe an online community. And at some point they also say, you know what, I want to sell online courses. So we've created this template, which really operates as a LMS for video content. And you can come here, you can actually sign up and test all this out. But a few of the basics in terms of how it works. If you come here and you click on free content, this will probably look familiar, but you can see some sort of free courses here that you can just interact with, and you don't need to pay anything to check out these actual courses. But beyond that, if you come up here to paid courses, you can also offer paid courses. So these would be protected. If you do come here and click view course and you try to start the course, we're going to prompt you to sign up. So any sort of video content, if you want to have kind of teaser content for free courses or free lessons, you can go ahead and do so. You can sell multiple paid courses. And ultimately, if you log in here, you will then gain access to your paid content. And a couple other things of interest. Now that I've logged into this site, you'll see that I can interact with Outseta's profile embed, so I can update my profile. This is also how I would change my plan. So if you do have a member that needs to change their plan, that's how they would typically do it. But now that I'm here, I haven't actually gone through any of these courses, but this uses our account-specific page feature, and it gives you a personalized dashboard where you'll see on a course-by-course basis which courses you've completed and which lessons within each of those courses you've completed. So just as in the back end of Outseta, you get insight on each customer's CRM record that would show you kind of what courses they've completed or what lessons they've completed, your student, your member, however you want to refer to them, gets that same feedback directly within your site here. So those are just a few of the templates. I mentioned these because these are great starting points. But there's all kinds of different customers of ours. Let's look at this one.
I'm like ready to build something, honestly. I'm here like, damn.
So
yeah, it's like an all-in-one solution. It has everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't need anything else.
That's the idea. But this is an example. This is obviously not using the same LMS template that I just shared, but this is actually a pretty well-known landscape painter, and he's used Outseta and Webflow to build sort of a learning management system. You can log into this site and you get like really detailed video content where he is teaching you how to do landscape painting of all different types. And he hosts weekly sessions just like this, where he kind of paints live and people look in, and then they can run off and watch all his tutorials and pay for his content. So the kind of online curriculum, the membership site, and SaaS products are definitely the three most common use cases, I would say, that we see within the Webflow community. And the newer one that we're starting to see a lot of is consultants, freelancers, small agencies that sell their services, at least to some extent, on a retainer basis and want to use Outseta to actually manage their business.
Wow. Very cool.
Awesome. That's all I got.
Damn, I mean, you gave us all. This was amazing. Thank you so much for taking the time to walk us through. I was very like, I didn't really have much information. Exactly. Robert says, mic drop for real. Like, I really hope people get to this recording and see all the value that Outseta has, because as a business owner, just starting, all of this automation and CRM and payments, all of this is really, really complicated. So having it there as a no-code tool is great. It's great. Okay, so, and Kenna has a question.
Sure.
Let's see.
Hi, sorry, I just joined, but I actually had this at the top of mind, so I actually asked you a question. So my main question when I saw the Outseta platform, I did follow it like a year ago, was regarding payments. And I noticed like, you know, most of these platforms, like it's kind of tied into Stripe. Is there kind of a reason behind it? Is there any plans to actually go beyond just Stripe? Because you actually have a huge community or huge access to clients who want to go beyond Stripe and use other payment platforms. So could you share a bit about that?
Yeah, it's a good question. Right now, today, we only support payment processing via Stripe. We definitely started with Stripe just because Stripe is kind of the gold standard, I guess, for processing online payments, and has good APIs and is easy to integrate with and all those sorts of things. We do get requests for some other payment options. I'd say the common ones have been PayPal, Google Pay, Apple Pay. There's a product called Paddle that's pretty popular over in the UK. I think those are, or not the UK, the EU, excuse me. I think all of those are viable tools that we might integrate with in the future. I think Paddle is probably the most likely one because they are available in a bunch of countries that Stripe is not. But certainly we're always looking for feedback on, you know, if you are looking to use another payment platform, why that might be. And it's something we'll evaluate, ultimately looking for, you know, additional payment options that are going to benefit the greatest number of users.
Mm-hmm. That's
All right,
great.
thank you so much for sharing that.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody has other questions? Okay, so then I have a question. How did you decide to start Outseta? Like, what was the reason?
Sure. So one of my co-founders, his name is Dimitri. We worked together at a previous SaaS business, and he was the CTO. I was kind of the business user, I guess. And as the company scaled, I was kind of tugging on his shirt saying, you know, we need a real billing system at this point. We need HubSpot for marketing automation and Zendesk for support and a reporting solution and MailChimp for email and all these different tools. And ultimately, I'm relatively non-technical myself. He was the one that was kind of tasked with tying all these systems together and making sure they were well integrated and all that kind of stuff. And he turned around and he said, you know what, at the end of the day, this is taking a lot of my time away from what I should be doing, which is sort of building our products, not integrating the software tools that the business relies on. So he's kind of a stubborn guy. And in a lot of cases, rather than buying these third-party tools and integrating them, he built a really basic sort of homegrown CRM and ticketing system and billing system that we used to scale that business from basically day zero to about $5 million in revenue. And it worked really well for us. It was sort of bare bones, but a kind of a skeleton tech stack, I guess you would call it. And after we both stopped working on that business, we were looking to do something new. And he said, you know what, that homegrown tech stack that I built for our own use served us pretty well. There isn't really a SaaS business in a box. So a parallel that we hear all the time is if you want to launch an e-commerce store, you can go and use Shopify. If you're a sort of creator and you want to sell some sort of digital products, you can go use Gumroad. There's nobody really doing the same thing for SaaS or membership style businesses. And that's really where the idea came from.
Wow. Was it hard? Like, how was it?
Yes, it was hard. I would say in general, two things. One is we've intentionally decided to bootstrap the business the whole way here. And Outseta is a huge undertaking, right? It's not really one software product. It's more like 4 or 5. So, you know, we've been in business for almost 6 years now. Most people didn't really know about us until 2-3 years ago. And that's because we were just kind of heads down building all of this, to be honest. So that aspect of it, just the time required to get to this point, was certainly tough. And then I think the other thing that was tough for us is we did initially start out focused almost completely on SaaS. And what we sort of learned the hard way, to be frank, is software developers have the technical skills to build the perfect tech stack in the early days. And even if it's not the best use of their time, and even if they recognize that, they're probably going to do it anyways. So that's really where no code came into our lives. We sort of were introduced to a population of people who said, you know, we don't necessarily have the skill set to perfectly integrate all these tools. And even if we did, the speed to market thing is important. I mean, that's ultimately a lot of what no code delivers. So as soon as the no code community sort of discovered Outseta, we sort of started growing in no code, just as we had grown initially in SaaS.
If I would have known, well, if Outseta existed when I had my startup, I would have probably never closed it, because this was the main reason why. Like all of this web things, like, you know, like all of the intricate little details that go into retaining a customer, keeping them happy, communicating with them, billing, like all of that stuff.
Good. I'm happy to hear it. That's music to my ears.
And if people that are thinking of opening a startup, like, you know, the typical cliche question, like what would be your advice based on your experience?
I think I have two pieces of advice. The first one is to start simple. So I think the number one thing, believe it or not, that I see sort of paralyzing startup founders is they have some vision for how they want their business to look and operate from day one. That is not easy to execute on. And an example that, or just one example that I see all the time is, we'll get a founder who has built sort of an MVP product, and they have a very sophisticated model in mind for pricing. There's going to be 20 different tiers and automatic upgrade paths and all this stuff. And they're saying, you know, can Outseta support that? Can I build that myself? Like, what do I need to do here? And my response is always, you know, rather than spending 6 months doing that, see if you can sell your product for $10 a month to start. If you can't sell it for $10 a month to start, building this complex billing scenario isn't going to make any sense in general. So I think that's the first thing. Start small, start simple, you know, prove that people will pay even a nominal fee for whatever it is that you're offering, and you'll save yourself a lot of headaches early on. The second thing is certainly biased from our experience and our decision to build something of this size and bootstrap it. But I think in general, all startups, even if you are funded and whatnot, take twice as long as you think they're going to take. So before you embark on building anything, really think about, like, do I want, if I think I'm going to be at whatever it is, $10,000 in revenue in 2 years, if I'm there in 4, is that something that's tenable to me? Is that something where I can stay alive financially long enough to get to that point? I think starting small and expecting the long road are kind of the two things that I would preach.
Yeah. We had a founder of a company not long ago, and everybody was like, oh, ask for the discount code, ask for the discount code. And like, I think about it also like as a founder, like, you know, all the work these people just went through, like the last thing I want to ask them is for a discount code. Come on, guys. You know what I mean? Like
that's actually a good one too. I wouldn't put it at the same level as the other two, but we see even within our own customer base, and we're partially to blame because we built discount functionality into our own product. But I really discourage people from relying on discounts and using discounts in a heavy way. I see so many startup founders try to discount their pricing to sort of solve a problem. It's like, people aren't buying this, so I'm just going to discount it and discount it and discount it until somebody does. And at the end of the day, it's like if people aren't buying your product, it's because the product isn't good enough, not because you haven't discounted it enough.
Correct.
So
Yep.
what we do for what it's worth, and it makes my life really easy. We don't ever offer discounts to anybody. We've set our pricing as low as we can possibly afford to as a business, largely because we do sell to bootstrap companies and startups. But when people come asking, that's the response every single time. And you'd be surprised when you explain that to people. In most cases, they're like, that makes total sense. I get it. Like, good for you.
Exactly. Samir has a question.
Yeah, Geoff, I have a question on your product pricing.
Mhm.
So you have so many APIs integrated with your system. So is that included in the cost, or would that be separate cost?
Yeah, it's included in the cost. Every single feature that you see, all of our APIs, all of our integrations, everything is included in the cost. There's really no additional fees. There's two components to the pricing. There's the monthly subscription fee, and then there's the 1% fee on successfully processed transactions.
Okay. Got it. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Any more questions, guys? Mhm.
Well, we can give James credit for all of it except for my background. The background is a stock background from Butter, the platform.
Yeah, I don't remember approving that background.
James, what a great job you did on this. Wow, it's beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been just a little by little over the past five or 6 years.
Beautiful. Yeah, because somebody was saying on YouTube, like, with this type of tools, they look beautiful on the front, and then you go into the back and it's just like a 90s product. And it's like, damn, you know, but this really has the whole style throughout. So I love it.
Awesome. Thank you.
Okay, so Matt asks, thanks, Geoff, amazing product. Do you have any use cases you know of companies that use Outseta for mobile apps?
We do have a few customers that use Outseta to manage mobile apps. I would not recommend it, to be honest with you. It can be done. It is certainly not designed for a mobile app, and the integration is fairly technical and a little bit messy. I'd point you in another direction, to be honest.
Okay, cool. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Geoff and James, for being here and showing us this awesome tool. Like, I will be using it for sure. I'm sure a lot of people here will be using it. Guys, if you have questions, Geoff, do you want to give yourself a plug and let everybody know where to find you?
Yeah. So a couple things of note. If you come to our website and you go to the sales folder, you can book a one-on-one call with me anytime. So feel free to do so. This just links to my Calendly. If you want to chat, that's great. You can find me on Twitter. My email is jeff@outseta.com. It is GEOFF. So just make note of that. Or if anyone on the call is particularly technical and wants to integrate this with a SaaS product or has any kind of what's technically feasible type questions, support@outseta.com creates a support ticket, and our engineering team will see that.
Cool. Awesome. Well, thank you so much. We'll stay connected on Twitter for sure. You're welcome to the Webflow party whenever you want. You want to announce any new features or anything, you're more than welcome. And thank you so much for everything.
Yeah, thank you for facilitating. We're excited to both be in the community, and you'll see more of us going forward.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, guys, well, that's all. Today we're not having a Webflow after party because I have to work. But make sure to share on Twitter if you like this. Let everybody know Outseta exists for people that don't know. super useful for everybody and your experience here in the Webflow party. And that's all. Thank you so much.
Thanks, everyone.